Welcome back to the 13th Destiny with Magnum, and of course my co-host is on from San Diego, Danielle. Hello.
Hi, everybody.
All right, and today we also have on a special guest that I'll be introducing here in just a minute after the typical weekly shout-outs. He is a returning guest. That's our second returning guest for this year. Of course, Miranda Young was our last returning guest from the season 1, and he was on season 1 as well when it was just me and without the co-host. But we'll introduce him in just a minute. Some of you know who's going to be on today if you've been following our stuff, and then those who don't know, we'll introduce him and get some background, and we'll go from there. But anyway, our typical weekly shout-outs for the businesses that we are associated with and that we support. The number one is the Holiday Inn University Plaza Hotel at 1021 Wilkerson Trace here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Been doing business with for over 20 years. Seth is the general manager. Heather is the assistant general manager. Go by and see everybody there. Love the staff there. Love the management there. I eat breakfast there sometimes on the buffet, and of course sometimes I do eat there in the evenings depending on how my schedule is going. And of course also our friends down at Oak Grove Racing and Gaming down in Oak Grove, Kentucky, near Fort Campbell, home of the 101st Airborne, and also Clarksville, Tennessee. Go down and support them as well. Okay, so today, our guest today is traditional country music singer Rick Ryman from the first season that we had on. And of course, as you know, some of you have listened to our show in recent weeks and know the stuff about me. He is also the guy that wrote the song About Me. We'll get into all that, and so let's begin with welcoming Rick Ryman to the show. Rick, welcome to the show.
Howdy. Good to see or hear you.
Yeah, right? Yeah, Rick's on the phone this time. Last time, me and Rick did it in person with each other, and we had all those wonderful technical problems back then. Remember that?
Yeah. It took a while to do the show, but
Yeah, it took us 3 episodes. It took us 3 episodes, which was good in my first year, but it really wasn't planned that way because we were having so many technical issues. And we, Rick liked to. What was that joke you made the first year? What about the $1 million worth of equipment and something, and you just needed some batteries? I still remember the joke. See, that's pretty good.
I don't. Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I didn't even go back and listen to the previous episode of that to find that out. So let's get a little bit. Let's go ahead and for those that don't know anything about you, let's go ahead and give a little background. If you want to give some background on, where you got started, where you're from, all that good stuff. We'll do all that again.
Yeah. Way back when you were on your mama's knee.
I can't remember back then. I can only remember what I had for supper last night. But anyway, I don't know. I grew up in a little town in New Baltimore, Ohio, about 30 miles northwest of Cincinnati, and gosh, I don't know what to say. I've never been good about talking about myself, but I bought my first guitar when I was 19 years old. It was for my birthday present to myself. I was in the Air Force. I was stationed down at Shepherd Air Force Base in Wichita Falls, Texas, and doing the tech school thing, and I bought it. I wasn't supposed to, but I bought it, and like I said, it was for my 19th birthday, and taught myself how to do the little bit that I know, and just kind of built from there. And I remember when I was going from tech school to my permanent base in Dover, Delaware, back in 1981. This would be October then. That's when my birthday was. But I was supposed to go to Dover. I was supposed to be in Dover in December, and of course you get leave time. So I went to Cincinnati and took my guitar and everything, all my belongings and stuff like that. And I was going to drive to Delaware to with my stuff, but the car it did something strange, and And my dad wouldn't let me drive all the way out there by myself, knowing that it could possibly be something wrong with the car, and so I wasn't going to take my guitar when I was flying, and I remember it was sitting on the floor in the kitchen, and in the case and everything. And he says, "You going to take this?" And I go, "No, I don't know how to play it." And he goes, "Well, you can learn." And took it with me, and I'm glad I did, because I just kind of forced myself to. And I remember watching Hee Haw back in the long time ago, and I remember that there was this one guy, and he just strummed his guitar, and I remember as a kid saying, "Gosh, if I could only learn how to do that, I'd be happy." And that's about all I can do. I can't do any picking or anything. My fingers just don't move in that kind of fashion. And I tell you, I envy those guys that know how to pick, and they're great players, And I've always said I'm a guitar player. I'm no musician. I just kind of bang on the strings and make some noise. And
well, I don't know. I think you've done pretty good.
Well, thank you, James.
I think you've done pretty good, and especially on Racing History. And you perform on a pretty regular basis around here, around Kentucky and Tennessee.
I've gotten lucky. I mean, honestly, you got to keep calling, keep bugging these people to give you dates, because if you don't, you just keep getting pushed back to the bottom of the pile, and it's frustrating at times. You're trying to cover up some dates and everything to play, and they don't, nobody calls you back, and to book, even though they say, "Oh yeah, we want you to come back," and blah blah blah, but it takes them a while to. I know they're busy and stuff like that, but at the same time, if you don't stay on them, it just keeps getting pushed further into the year because they got, some places book 6 months in advance, and other places book, they don't want to book any more than a month ahead.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so I mean, it's different.
Yeah. Well, we kind of understand the being pushed back and having to stay on top of things. Yeah, some people say, "Yeah, we're going to do something," and then they don't do it. But yeah. You, me, and Danielle, all three will be on that one. One of the things that, of course, I met you way back. I met you back when Alexander was your manager, but you've been doing music for a long time, long before I met you. You've had some decent successes with a couple of songs, obviously. Of course, I'm personally enjoying one of those right now. Let's don't talk about mine yet. Let's talk about. I'm gonna let Danielle ask you a little bit about mine when we get a chance here. Let's talk about that first one you did on Running All Out. What that one's about, because that's kind of a cute song too, but not a little different from mine. But let's talk about that one. How that one went about.
Well, I mean, I like this story, and because David Haston, who I met. I never met him in person, but we were introduced to each other by Alex and Alexandria Altman.
Same thing with me, see? Yeah.
And, well, I mean, that's how things evolve.
Yeah.
You just get introduced to, meeting people and stuff like that. And sometimes they can help you. Sometimes, it's just friendships.
Right.
But anyways, David called me one day, and he lived out in California too, and and he called me and he says, he goes, "Hey, I just was talking with some people and about lawnmower racing." He goes, "Have you heard of lawnmower racing?" I said, "Yeah, I've heard of it." I says, "I've never been to any." And he says, "Well, do you think you can write a song about lawnmower racing?" And I says, "No." And he just laughed, and he goes, "Well," I said, "Well, what do you got in mind?" And he said that some people were looking for a song to do a reality show with,
mm-hmm.
for lawnmower racing and everything. And I said, really? I said, I don't know, David. I said, I just don't know. I said, I doubt it. So anyways, I got off the phone with him, and when I was on the phone with him, I was in front of my computer, so I just turned the computer on and started searching, Lawn Mower Racing and stuff like that. And I watched some of the videos, and I just noticed that there was one common line that they always were talking, when they did the interviews and stuff like that. They kept saying, that we're running all out, and it's like it just stuck with me. And I don't know, I just sat down and like maybe a couple of hours after I got off the phone with David, I had the song written. Well, most of it anyways.
Most of it, yeah.
And yeah, you kind of you make changes along the way. You keep playing it and stuff like that, and other ideas come to mind, and you kind of strengthen the song a little. Sometimes you just fill in lines, just to fill in lines, and you just come back to it later, and
right.
And that's basically what I did. And then I called him the next day, and I said, hey, I got that song for you. And he just started laughing. He goes, I thought you said you couldn't write it. And I said, well, so he gave me a challenge.
Right.
And it became the, I don't know how much it got played or anything. David did all the promotion on that. And I know it was used for the National Lawn Mower Racing Association's 20th anniversary. Mm-hmm. And I think that was, gosh, I can't remember what year it was. I think it was 2012.
Okay. I
can't remember if it was that far back or a little bit closer.
I'm sure somebody can look it up. I'll take a look at it too as well. I'll try to figure out what that was. But yeah, obviously, and there is a little music video of that one too on YouTube, right? If I remember.
Yeah,
correctly.
David put that all together. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I was thinking, that on that particular song, if I remember correctly. I know that it's in the Rick Ryman mix along with my on Spotify and all that. So yeah. So leading into that, since we're going to talk about that song, and we'll talk a little bit, and then we'll get back to a little bit more about you. I am going to let Danielle, if she's willing to here, ask you about, because she really, really liked that song about me. I'll tell you a little secret. She interviewed me recently, and she played that song because that was before we started really getting all the stuff that's been going on in the last few weeks, with promotional stuff and everything. I want to let her talk to you about that song a little bit, because she really enjoyed that. She was one of those people that was early on and got to listen to the song before other people got, before we got up on Spotify and promotional teams and all that different stuff of yours and mine, all that stuff, got all that stuff going. Anyway, Danielle, if you want to ask Rick a little bit about James Magnum Private Eye, since he's on now, and tell him how much you enjoyed that song, we can do that one, let you do that one with him. And you can get to ask him how that one came about. So Danielle, talk to Rick if you don't mind, and we'll go from there.
Hi, just wanted to ask, what made you think of writing a song about Magnum?
Well, it wasn't my idea. It was
kind of mine.
James Magnum Cook's idea. He called me up. He called me up and said he needed a song about himself, and I says, well, what? And he goes, I want you to write it. And it's like, I go, oh, I can't do that. I said,
he turned me down to start with.
Yeah, it's like, I thought that was just going to be way too hard. But again, I did the same thing. I got off the phone with him, and it was like a couple of days later, I was just playing around, and it just started coming together. And out of it's like I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do with the song. It's like I was just putting lines together and stuff like that, and then next thing I know, it's like I needed something to rhyme, and it was like Private Eye came out of my mouth, and I go, oh, but that's kind of old. I don't know if he, but it sounded so cool. It went well with the song and everything, and then I just built on the Private Eye thing, and then as time, as I mentioned about the other song, you just kind of play it over and over and over, and a few days later, it's like I changed some lines and added a bridge and to add more. What do you want to call it? More things about James's life and what he's doing. Try to make it a little bit more current and.
Wrangling coyotes.
Fighting coyotes
with his bare hands.
Oh my god! It's what I like the tune, and it's really catchy. The tune is so catchy, and so I'll go around and sing the tune and then fill in the words.
Yeah, I hadn't told you that.
Words.
Yeah, she can do that.
Yeah. I just like to start singing.
Do you have a favorite line in the song? My favorite line is he'll shoot you with his camera.
He'll shoot you with his camera. You better run, but you can't hide.
See,
See, I know it.
See, she knows it well. Oh my goodness! But she did. She liked it, didn't you, Danielle? You liked it a lot.
Well, yeah, like I say, I'll go around, because it's so catchy, the tune, I'll go around and just make up, he's not your average hoe. That's what I say. Instead of Joe,
She'll mess with me.
it comes out hoe.
I didn't know you were going to put that on the podcast today. Boy, you're going to have everybody mess with me.
Yeah, really.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome. See, I told you this was going to be a fun show. Oh my goodness.
You got him blushing.
What I sing. Huh?
That's it. You got James blushing.
Probably. He knows me pretty well. Both of you know me pretty well. That's pretty good.
I could hear in your laugh that you were blushing on that.
He's actually seen me laughing in person. Well, she has to, though, but yeah. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. She kind of blindsided me on that one. See, that's what the great thing about having a co-host. You don't know what's going to hit you. It's pretty good. At least the batteries didn't die during that. I love it. But yeah, she does. She's told me several times she goes around singing the song and stuff. And like I said, she was one of the ones that got to listen to kind of the. You remember when you sent me the raw cut? I let her. She looked at that. She liked it. And then when we got everything, she really liked it. And now she just she does. She tells me all the time. She says, "I'll get that in my head, and I'll start singing that." People.
Well, it's like the little stuff that Jerry did.
Yeah.
Was I listened to the song again last night, and I was hearing some things that didn't stand out to me before.
Right.
And it's like I go, oh, I said I didn't realize that he put that in. It's just something I don't know why. I'm sure I heard it, but I just didn't hear it the way I heard it like I did last night.
Right.
It was just like we were, you was there when we were going down the rough cut and everything, and you saw how me and Jerry were on the same page about what we wanted in the song, and that is so important when you're working together with somebody,
right?
And doing a project like that, to make sure that you're working together, that you get the sound that you're looking for. And he was hearing the same things that I was hearing, and I thought that was great. Right.
Yeah, the collaboration with Jerry down there in Nashville was awesome. That was I think that's probably what has everybody. I mean, I sat back and letting you guys do what you do because I'm not from that aspect of the entertainment world. I've been associated, but I've never performed that kind of stuff. I mean, I've done acting, stuff like that, but I've never been involved with that. And that was so cool because I've been on a couple of music videos, as you well know, with some of the models and stuff, but that was there because of the models. I wasn't there because of, there was a song, especially being done about me, which was really different. And I will tell you, which Danielle didn't know, that I had, I think I've said in a couple of interviews that I did say something to you first, and then you came back to me. That I did do the initial, asking, and then saying that, this would be interesting, but I don't know. And then you were saying, I don't know that I can do that. And then you did the same thing you did with the other song. You kind of like, you came back to me, and I was like, when you sent it back to me, I was like, oh, this is going to be good. But I'll tell you something, that when I was with you down there in Nashville, when that first day I was there, when you started with Jerry, and I said, man, this could be something really interesting, because I did not, I was hearing that too, going, wow, that's different. It's going to be different from what the rough cut is. And then when you added change, took out the part about and then put in the coyote thing that way and bridged it that way, I was like, whoa, this could be something. And in recent weeks, you and I both know that it has become totally different from anything we were expecting as far as promotional. I'm happy for you, because it's getting your name out there a lot. And that was one of the things that was very important to me. Even though the song's about me, one of the great things about me, as you well know, I always try to help the people help me. And I have been so blessed to be able to put your name with that out there so many different places. I mean, there's no way that I would have thought when we first started doing it. I know it was good. Danielle obviously convinced me that it was very good, and when she was telling me how she was doing that, I had the feeling it was going to go somewhere, and it has gone somewhere. I would like to get it more places. I would like to see it more places, but now tell me if I'm wrong, but I think this has got a lot more airplay than anything you've got so far, or am I wrong on that?
I have no idea, because the markets, the radio stations overseas, they're terrible at reporting.
Okay, so we don't know for sure.
So, yeah, I mean, I had some stuff, I can't remember, like 2007 or something like that, 2005.
Okay.
Where I went overseas, I hired a promoter, and they sent it overseas and stuff like that, mainly Europe. And the first song got as far as number 3, and then it stalled, but it stalled because they never updated the charts. I mean, there was
wow.
It stalled, like, I guess in I guess sometime in October, and then it didn't update again until January.
Oh, heck.
And yeah, by the time it updated again, it dropped to number 8. And it's like, I go, well, I could have had a number 1, but never knew it.
Wow. Okay. Well, so, then we'll have to say.
When you get it.
Yeah.
So, I had 3 hits, so-called top 10 hits over there.
Okay.
But according to their charts, but as far as royalties, you basically forget it, because they don't report their spins or plays.
So we're kind of okay. So with the promotional team, we're kind of at a crossroads in something that you just brought on to me. I didn't realize. I'll talk about that to them. Yeah. So that's something I did not know. But I'm thinking with the amount of airplay that we're getting in other places and stuff, and we did pick up a few here in the United States. We're gonna have to get back with them and make sure that see what kind of reporting we can get on that, because I didn't realize that until just now, and that's good that I interviewed you, or we interviewed you today, because that was something that I was not aware of. Wow. So another thing, and I had mentioned this to Danielle. Danielle's still online with us here. And I'm going to, if she wants to, I'm going to let her ask you about this. I'm going to kind of lead into it for her. So, Danielle, asked Rick about the biggest person he ever opened for, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I was going to ask him about that.
Yeah, ask him about that.
Hey, Rick, what is the story about the biggest person that you've ever opened for, music-wise? And is there a concert?
Well, yeah, I got a wonderful opportunity, and it was my sister helped me. Well, she was the one who brought it to my attention. She lives out in little town of Bright, Indiana, and Lawrenceburg, Indiana always has this fall fest every year, and it's out in the same area, close to where I grew up at and everything. I've been to Lawrenceburg many times, when I was younger and stuff. But anyways, she told me about this festival, and she said, well, why don't you play the festival? I said, well, why don't you tell me who I need to contact? So she did. She found out who the contact person was, and I sent them a tape and my information and stuff like that. And I'll never forget it. I was sitting I was sitting in my doctor's office. I went to my doctor's office to get a steroid shot because my allergies were just out of control that day. And I was sitting in his office, and I get this phone call, and it's like I go, and it's like this guy introduces himself to me. He says, I'm with the Lawrenceburg Fall Fest, and just wanted to ask you, about playing at the Fall Fest. And it's like I go, oh wow, you wanted to hire me and stuff like that. And he told me what the pay was, and I told him, I said, well, I said, it's hard to bring a band up from Nashville with that pay. Well, he ended up getting me more money, and then he told me, he goes, well, the artist who you're opening up for is going to be Willie Nelson. And he goes, don't tell nobody because we haven't released it out to the public yet. And it's like, I'm shocked. I was like, what, who, But that was a fun show. It was me, there was an artist, Justin Moore, Billy Joe Schaefer, I was on the show also, and then Willie. And it was fun. That was a strange situation. The person who hired me to do the show ended up quitting about, 3 or 4 days before I was supposed to, the fair started and everything. And he sent me a message saying, he goes, I'm sorry, I won't be there. He goes, I'm no longer a part of it. He says, but enjoy your show. He goes, you're still playing, blah, 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 all this other stuff. And it's like, I'm shocked. It's like, I go, what in the world happened? So the lady who was in control of the festival, she was not very hospitable. What's the word? Wasn't very friendly.
Right.
Hospitable.
Yeah, that's the word. That's the word.
Like that.
Yeah, so I asked her, I said, we were standing there close to the bus, and it was roped off and everything. I asked her, I said, hey, and she told me beforehand that sent me I think an email that you will not meet Willie Nelson and this and that. So, but anyway, I was standing next to her, and we were standing next to the bus because she was waiting for her turn to go inside the roped off area to see Willie, the meeting. And I asked her, I says, could I meet him? Would you mind introducing? She goes, no. I said, oh, okay. She goes, I told you weren't going to meet him. I says, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So, why was she acting like that?
Because she could.
Well,
Wow.
yeah. Danielle, I think I got a theory on that too, and I'll when you said that was a change at the end, I'd say she probably was someone that was not that associated with entertainment as well as you and I are, and stuff like that.
No, she didn't.
Willie would not have minded.
Background.
She
had no background in that. I forget what she did, what her job was, but it wasn't. That's why. The person who hired me, he was, and that was the reason why, he told me on the phone, he goes, we had a lot of submissions, he goes, but you were the only one who actually submitted country music. And he said that, your type of music fits who, was performing that night and everything. He goes, everybody else was like rock bands trying to play country music, and he goes, it just didn't jive to me. And he was, like I said, he was a musician himself. They were playing. He plays in an oldies, classic rock, I should say, type band, and they're pretty popular in the area. The Channel Cats. Yeah. And the fellow's name was Monty Dole, and and I'll always thank him, a lot for giving me that opportunity. And I don't know, they had some kind of falling out, and I never did get into it, and it was none of my business.
Well, we all know in the business that happens all the time. What are we talking about, right?
Yeah, and one of the things I learned from another friend of mine, he said, he told me, he goes, get paid before you play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so when I arrived, I told him, I said, where do I find so-and-so? I don't want to mention her name.
Yeah.
I says, where do I find so-and-so? And they said, well, she's not here. And I says, well, I need to speak with her. And so they called her on the phone, and the guy says, the guy is asking, to be paid. And she said, I'll pay him after. I go, no, we're not getting paid after. Said,
nope.
And a check arrived, before we played, and so I was happy, and we did a good job. There was a couple of mistakes, I guess you can say, that
right.
That generally happens. That I noticed. I don't know how many people in the audience actually noticed, but there were some things that went on during the show that I noticed that I wasn't particularly thrilled with, but that it happens.
Yeah. And it is kind of sad that you didn't get to meet Willie, because Willie's pretty well known for people that he doesn't mind meeting people and stuff. He never really has, so I think that was more on her than him, as far as the background that I'm aware of. From also someone else that has worked with him directly that I know. And I had mentioned this I told him, I said, hey, let me tell you what happened. I said, I don't have, which I got a little bit more of the story today. And they said, well, yeah, if someone had worked in that correctly, they said, yeah, Willie would have probably met with you with no problem. But I said, yeah, it was probably and you just confirmed the very thing that the other person told me, that the person just really didn't have the background to know how to, do that diplomatically. Obviously, right? But it was nice that you did get to open for him. It was like a big show. How many people were at that show? Let her.
It's hard to say. It was a pretty good crowd, even though I opened. Gosh, I can't even remember what time we started.
Been that long, has it?
I don't know. We started at like 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that. I can't remember what time it was. I remember we drove up from Nashville that day, and it's only like a 4.5 hour drive.
Right.
So we got up and we got there. And we had that's the other thing I thought was funny. We got there and stuff like that. And we had stopped, and I bought everybody lunch and stuff like that. And backstage, there were when it got close to the showtime and everything, backstage, they're cooking up some barbecue and stuff like that. And I go, oh, I says, is that for the performers too? And no, it's just for all the volunteers. I said, oh. Well, okay, no problem. I said, just thought I'd ask. I said, so if I said, I had a couple band members asking me about it. I said, just thought I'd ask. Well, about an hour later, they said, hey, you want some barbecue? It's like, well, you said it wasn't for us.
Oh, my goodness. Oh my goodness! Well, Danielle still listening, so I'll tell her that's a typical thing that happens a lot with that kind of stuff. Because I've been with Rick, and the first time I was with you, it was so funny because I came in and I just said, "Yeah, I'm here with Rick," but I didn't mean I was here with you. I was just here to be for the appearance, right? and to be there when you were going to do the song about me. And literally 5 broke girls just like, "Oh yeah, here's your food." I was like, "What, the food's for me?" I was like, wait a minute, I did not see that coming, but that was kind of funny. So sometimes you think one thing and it's like something else happens. Yeah, that's very typical in this business. It's like, didn't see that coming. Okay, well, thank you. But I'm gonna ask you about a story. Well, I'm gonna let Danielle kind of ask you about this story because I want her to ask you about this story. So I try not to put her on the spot too much, but I want her to ask you about the story outside the guitar store, because you already told that story. I want her to ask you about the first time you ever performed in your life. Danielle, ask him about that. That's going to be a fun story for you and him to talk about.
You already did ask him that.
No, that's
the first time you ever performed in your life.
No. That's the guitar. No. This is talking. He was much younger. Ask him about his young life before the guitar. Ask him about that.
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
Ask him about that.
The guitar.
Yeah, he's dying laughing because
the guitar. What happened?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. James, is there a particular... Did I tell you something that...
Yeah. Remember the story you told me? Remember the story you told me about the performing for, I guess, at your home when you were very young? That you said that.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
You said it was... Let Danielle ask you about that story, about when you were a kid. That's so much fun. That's a fun story. So tell
kid, what happened?
Yeah, tell Danielle about that story. Yeah, talk to her. Act like you're talking to her, not me. Because I know the story.
What happened?
I know the story, so you tell her the story.
Was he acting? Were you acting? Were you singing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where to start, but I get, me and my cousin did. I don't even remember how we even come about doing this, but and I don't remember how old we were. Probably 10.
There you
something
go.
Like that.
That's the right story.
He lived right down the street from me. But anyways, he was more into Merle Haggard back in those days, and I was more into. My mom was into Tom Jones and Engelbert Humperdinck, so I was into whatever my mom was into. So I was a young Tom Jones fan when I was about 10 years old, and I still am. I mean, I like his music. He's a wonderful singer. Mm-hmm. But anyways, so Gene, he acted like Merle Haggard, and he did some Merle Haggard songs, and I acted like Tom Jones, and then my uncle on my mom's side just happened to stop over at the house, and and I remember him starting to come down the steps because we were performing in the basement of my mom and dad's house, and he was watching from the steps, and I just remember him laughing and enjoying what was going on and everything. And then I don't know, we had a big get together over at the house one night with my mom's side of the family, and then next thing I know, I'm doing a little show for them at the end of the night and everything, and all I did was just basically pantomiting the Tom Jones album, that's about all, and doing some stupid so-called dance moves.
But it's a cute story because you were only 10 doing your first performance, had no idea you were going to be doing what you do today. Or had the band at one time, which Rick is
especially as shy as I am or was.
Yeah, that's something I'll tell Danielle too. That me and Rick talked about on the first show. And I have been with Rick long before you did the song about me. I've been with Rick a couple different times. I think at Mammoth Jamboree wasn't Mammoth Jamboree the first place I ever was with you as far as where you were performing.
Yeah.
And as far as in person, now I did the pictures for your stuff for Alex and all that. But one of the things, Danielle, that he told me, he threw me for a loop. He actually told me that he has stage fright, don't you? And that threw me because I think, dude, you go out all the time and do this. I'm really kind of surprised, but it's kind of like you said that you just always are concerned more about whether or not they're gonna like it and stuff and like that. And but once you get going, if they like
yeah, I mean, it's more of uninsurance of myself, just have no confidence in myself, than it is stage fright.
Okay, yeah. And something that me and Danielle go back with, because Danielle's my co-host and she's really good. She's awesome. I think I'm gonna play her up here a little bit, but she will very often say that you have it fairly easy as far as me, that I can just up and talk and there's no problem. Some people, and not everybody can do that just as easy as I can do that. And I think that's something you and I talked about too. It's like you kind of threw me because I know you go out there all the time to perform, and I I was much under the assumption that it wasn't, you didn't have any fear of that whatsoever. But I get where you were coming from after you had that talk with me, and I was like, wow. And I don't know. I guess maybe. I guess maybe certain people, certain things you do in this, whether it's entertainment, whether it's hosting, whether it's co-host, it's all based on your personalities and what you bring to the table. But everyone has something to bring to the table. Like on my show here, I mean, Danielle is awesome. I mean, I will continue to tell you that. But it's easier when you know the subject or the person. As far as that goes, and sometimes I guess on your deal it's easier when maybe you have like support there. Like let's take for example tonight, even though there wasn't a big turnout, you obviously had some support from me and from Howard. Does that make it easier when you have? Because I'm kind of curious to kind of tie these two things in, both the show and what you do in performing. Is it easier when you have someone there that and you're going to have that at least that kind of support, to kind of keep it going, or does it just is it just a hit or miss? What's easier?
Yeah, it's basically a hit or miss.
Okay.
What I find just playing more, keeping myself playing helps with the confidence level. If I have to, if I'm not playing for a week or 2 weekends in a row or something like that, I start feeling a little rusty. And I start, then the doubt starts setting in.
Okay.
It's like, oh gosh, what songs, am I going to do? What is this crowd going to like? Are they even going to like me? There's some places I go into that I know right away they're not going to like what I do because it's just not that type of crowd.
Wow.
And it's like I try to tell the owners, they like, they don't. Everything works here. Everything works here. They don't care. And it's like, well, okay.
I think, I think where you're coming from on that is that they just want to have a name that they've got some kind of live music going on, and they're not really thinking that through. I'll give you credit on that. That I'll agree, because I've been with you a few times now, and but going back to something that you told me off air, if you don't mind me talking, I'm sure you don't mind me saying this. I hope is that you are concerned. You're concerned about the business. You want the business to have people drawn in because that's something that you're there. You want to see them, bring people in, and I believe if I remember correctly, the cash register moving or something to that effect, right?
Well, yeah, that's my job. That's what they hired me for, is to not basically bring the people in, but when they're there. Mm-hmm. You want them to spend a little bit more time and money. You want them to stay longer.
Yeah.
So if you're playing like a pizza joint or let me just use that for an example. Yeah. And if they don't serve beer, people are not just going to sit around drinking water or Cokes to listen to music.
Unless you're me, right? Yeah.
Honestly, they're more liable to buy another round of beer.
Yeah, right.
And sit there and listen to you, and instead of just sitting there, they're just gonna, and that's what you want. You want them to spend, I'm there to help them spend the money, and enjoy themselves while they're there.
All right.
And so you got, that's what makes the the manager or the owner happy.
Right. Yeah, and I do.
It's like, I get some of the bar owners, or whatever you want to call it, and it just irritates me to no end when the first thing out of their mouth is, you got a following. It's like, it's not my job to have a following. My job is to entertain your crowd. So when you ask me if I got a following, you're telling me you don't have a crowd.
All right.
If I have to bring my people in to support your restaurant, then you're not doing your job.
Well, yeah, and yeah, exactly. And I always think, listen, I've dealt with that too. I always think it's funny too, because it's like, listen, you and I've dealt with this in the entertainment, and Danielle can listen to this. And because me and Danielle have been having a little trouble, trying to get the guest on. And I have been sending out as far as trying to get guests on and stuff, and you lose momentum and stuff. But let's go back to this whole deal about followings and how you and I know something from the entertainment business that doesn't always work. Well, Rick Ryman's going to be here tonight. He has all these people that's on this, or I'm going to be over here tonight, and I have these people that, and guess what? We got suddenly all these people are going to show up, and then they didn't show up because you and I both experienced that personally, where people didn't show up like they should have, and it's like you look at this with the restaurant owner asking you something like that, and it's like there's no guarantee in this business that we can get these people just because they say they're going to show up, because it doesn't always happen. Sometimes it does, sometimes it don't, but it's very difficult, and it's always funny to me, and I'm sure, it's frustrating, but it's funny too at the same time. You know where I'm coming from with this. You and I have talked about this.
Yeah.
It's like, do you really expect everyone that said on this page last night, like what happened with us and my bro girls, is like, you and I both knew that everybody wasn't going to show up. We could have told them from the get-go. It's like, hey man, if 100 people here say they're going to show up, if we get 5 of those 100, we're going to be very lucky.
Yeah, we got a crowd.
Yeah, that's a crowd, because that 5 out of that 100 that showed up were the people that were really dedicated, because that other 95 were those people that, hey man, I'm on Facebook, man, I just want to be a part of this, I want to just say I'm going to be there no matter if they don't show up. Yeah, you and I both have personally dealt with that in the entertainment business. It's not uncommon. But going back to something you said, which is also part of something that I deal with, is like we were off for a couple of weeks here, and we feel like we're losing momentum. Just like you said, you feel like you're losing that momentum. You got things going really good where like you've got performance after performance after performance, and I'll put it in comparison to our show. Whereas we've got a guest on, and then suddenly we got a wall, and it's like, what happened? And these things they're equal in a different, even though they're different, they're similar. So it's kind of like, and I get that. It's like, damn, what happened? Why are we suddenly stopped here? Or why are you suddenly not getting the performance? And like you say, you got to just, and I'm staying on top of stuff here, and you're staying on top of your stuff. And sometimes that's it can become very frustrating at times, and it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't even matter if you're a really big name, because even big names, you and I both know this from being close to the Nashville scene. We've seen some big names have some issues with getting people in sometimes, and people say, "Oh, that doesn't happen with big performers." Yeah, it does. You just don't know how much stuff they're doing behind the scenes to push to get that done. Or if you've got a good promotional team, or how much money's being spent, just to get a name out there or get something out there, or it takes time. I always like to I don't know. I don't think you've ever met my friend Ken Shelton, right? But you know who Ken is, right? Or kinda.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Well, Ken was a DJ earlier on, kind of like you were, and then he had Entertainment Magazine. Well, anything. One of the things that he told me early on, and you can relate to this. Bo Bice, my models did a music video with him, and one of the things that Ken had told me was, he'd been a runner-up on American Idol and all that stuff, and he laughed about this, about how they talked about him being an overnight success and all this stuff and everything, and he laughed at me. He said that's not even true whatsoever. And this was something I learned earlier on in the business. And I said, what do you mean? He said, man, in Alabama, he said he was doing all kinds of stuff for over 10 years in Alabama before he ever showed up on that TV show. And I went, I was like, there you go. See, a lot of things are manipulated when they do get to a certain point, and they'll say things to make it sound different. And you and I both know this. We all know this. That work in the business, or indirectly or directly. And it's a hard. And what you do is somewhat harder than someone who has an even bigger name. What these people are asking you about a following. Most of those people who have a very big following are not going to show up in your restaurant, guys. They're not going to show up at your restaurant. They're not going to. You're lucky that you get who you get in some of those venues, and you should feel very honored that you get those. I mean, this is my personal opinion. I'm going to put my personal opinion in here, because those people that come there for that, they're there. Your crowd's already there. You get there. You're getting paid to keep that crowd there for longer, like you say, to get them to spend money, to get them to, and that should be the more important thing, because it's very hard to get people with a following in some of the venues like you play and stuff. And I'm well aware of that, and you're well aware of that. So when
the thing is, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Go ahead. Go right ahead. Yeah, you're good.
The thing is, what a lot of these younger club people are, they're booking, and they're not paying attention to is that the main thing is consistency. You want to have you got to be consistent with your food. Mm-hmm. Okay, if you're going to serve food, be consistent in having good food all the time,
right?
Not just hit and miss. Mm-hmm. Be consistent with having cold beer, or and all that is just as important as being consistent with having good live entertainment.
Right.
It doesn't have to be country every weekend, or if you want to, as long as the audience knows, or the customer knows that, okay, tonight it could be blues, tonight it could be bluegrass, tonight it could be jazz or whatever.
Right.
As long as they know, it could be a different genre of music. As long as they're good.
Yeah.
Then people will continue to come back.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the thing you want.
Right.
But if you're going to have, Tommy's, little brother who is just starting out, he needs a gig, well, you're going to lose, right. You're going to lose that reputation of having, good entertainment every night,
right?
Or the nights that you're open.
Yeah, and you taught me something too recently, and I mean I kind of knew some of it, but wow, I just saw something interesting, and anyway, sorry about that. I got interrupted by something real because I'm out of the studio out at the ranch. But anyway, it's what you have when you're out in the middle of nowhere, right? But anyway, you taught me something recently about that whole deal about people who show up for your shows. That sometimes you'll do a repeat show in the same place, and a lot of times you'll have more people on the second run than you do on the first run. And that was something that I found interesting. I will admit that was one that threw me off, because I didn't deal with a lot of the live stuff before outside of you, and I was like, when you told me that, I said, well, there's something new on that. I was like, that's interesting, because I guess when you perform one place first time, and then you have some people that show up for the second time because you've been there, and that's intriguing to me. That's how that kind of works sometimes, which is cool. Let's see, what else do we have to
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah, there you go, Danielle. Go right ahead.
Yes, I was wondering, there are so many people that would like to make it and be a music, singer, songwriter. But, there are these shows like The Voice and American Idol and stuff. But what would you suggest to them to do to make it?
Wow.
For those out there that really would like to just start a career.
It's just so super hard, because it's not always about talent.
Mm-hmm.
It's about looks. A lot of it has to do with looks. If you're a cute female under 25, you got a better chance. If you're a cute male under 30, and I'm just being honest with you. It's a lot to do with looks. Now, how Jelly Roll made it, I have no idea. But because the looks sure isn't there. But but it has a lot to do with looks, and there's some labels. this is no secret. I mean,
it's no secret.
They'll hire, they'll sign some people knowing that they're not going to make it. You know, they're not going to get it. They're not going to get the hit. You know, they're not going to be very well known, and it's more or less it's a write off. But you know, they're just throwing it out there, and then you know, surprise. That song took off, and they didn't think it was going to go anywhere. They thought that person was going to be, we threw out this single and it ain't going to do nothing. It's going to die before it gets to 40. And, hit the top 40, and it's just going to die. And we'll just write this artist off as a tax write off. And but anymore, it seems like the easiest way to get a deal is to get on one of those shows.
Right.
I mean,
that's what I was thinking. I watched those shows. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, you got an instant name. You're already instantly, familiar with the audience who watches that show.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that makes an advantage in this day and age for those that are on those shows like that, right, Rick?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to win. I mean, you can come, just be on the show. Hopefully get past the first round. Of course, the more rounds you move into, the more exposure you're getting, the more people are going to remember your name, stuff like that. I mean, if you're gone out to the first round, sure, that's going to hurt you. But but at the same time, your name has been out there to 100 million people who watched that show. So I mean, the chance is not there. It's not as taking, as somebody who's just like me, just playing around, Middle Tennessee and
right in Kentucky
in a bar or something like that, is not getting any exposure.
I don't know. You're getting pretty good exposure here. You're getting pretty good exposure of late. But anyway, I'll let Danielle finish up on the rest of her question.
Oh no, I was just going to ask where can people come and hear you play? Do you have a website? Do you have, like that?
Well, I realized that the websites, nobody goes to my website.
They might after I link them again.
So I dumped it. So it's like, it just wasn't worth having to, spending the money having it. So I'm just basically on Facebook anymore, and I post on Facebook. Okay. But it's rare that that anybody comes out to just I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm.
You post things and nobody shows.
Yeah, it happens. Well, I guess hey, I get paid if there's one person there or 100 people there. So there you go. Well, I guess of late you've had quite a bit of exposure with my stuff, correct? With me and you.
You're doing all the promotion on that, not me. So better.
Well, the promotional team is doing it, not me personally. But yeah, so. But yeah, I guess you've got quite a bit of exposure with that of late. I know that every time I turn around, it seems like I'm having to get an update and everything. But I always promote you, of course, and like share your stuff and try to get more people to come to your shows and. But yeah, we go back to that, which I've never talked to Danielle 100% about this, but we go back to a lot of problems that we're aware of in the entertainment business, where we got people that like, it's kind of like that whole deal where, I go back to what I was saying, we got 100 people saying they're going to show up for this show and 5 people show up, or nobody shows up, and yet, we were supposed to have all these people there, and it is a hit or miss. It really is. The
Nashville area is just so, so saturated with good talent.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And so, I mean, Now I even question myself. It's like, am I doing too many songs that people don't know? And is that important? And,
right?
And I don't know. Do people just enjoy going out and listening to a good singer, or is that more? Is it more important to do more familiar songs that Because I do a lot of stuff from the '70s, and this just I don't know how big that audience is.
Yeah, but then again, though, I mean, now taking that into perspective, some of the older stuff that you do, I mean, some of the crowd that you have at some of the places I've been would be the crowd that would know that stuff. So I don't know. I mean, obviously we've had some younger people too that might know it, might not know it, depending on how they were raised, brought up. Because I mean, you and I run into some young people wouldn't have a clue on some of the stuff you play, and then occasionally we'll run into someone that in their 20s and we'll go, "Wow, you know that song?" It's like, wow, it's one of those things where it's like, "Well, yeah, I like that country music." Like there's a girl at Chewy's here in the restaurant in Bowling Green here that I dealt with not too long ago, and she heard your song, by the way, and she liked your song too. And then she said the next time I saw her, she said that he sings like stuff that I actually liked from the old days of my parents. I said, "Whoa, you really like that stuff?" I said, "Really?" And she's probably maybe 25, I think, at the most, and I'm thinking, wow. I'm like, that's it just doesn't happen as often like it used to. But yeah.
Well, I mean, I've played places where it's been a younger crowd, 20s, mid-20s, something like that. And I've there's been 2 or 3 occasions where I got done at the end of the night. And I've had those younger folks come up to me and they say, I didn't know one song you did tonight, but I really enjoyed what you did.
There you go.
And I love that.
That's good.
I love hearing that.
Yeah, I think Danielle's always liked to sing and listen to people's stuff. I'm sure she'd tell you something. I'm not going to answer for her. She can answer this for her. But you enjoy just a good performance, correct, Danielle?
Yes.
See, there you go. Nancy. But yeah,
that's what I was going to ask you, Danielle. Do you if you stumbled? Generally stumble out, but have you ever go into a bar or a venue, didn't know they had music, and then you realize, oh, hey, they got music in here, and maybe it was just a piano, a guy or something like that, or maybe not the genre that you normally listen to. But you still enjoy it?
Yes.
There you go.
See, that's the way I am too, but you said not all people are like that.
So I would sit down and have a Coke and listen to your music without drinking.
There you go.
See?
But most people do. They enjoy having one or two, which
Okay, I see.
It's whatever.
But
yeah,
but I was just curious about that.
Individuals.
Yeah, it does.
Everybody's different.
Yeah.
And so I try to do what I do best and sing the songs that I sing the best, and I got my iPad there, so if somebody's got a song I haven't done in years and they want to hear it, and it's like I always tell them, say, hey, I got it on here. I might be a little rusty on it. I said, but I'll do it for you, as long as you understand, and they're like, no, dude, we're having fun, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Mostly I just do whatever I want to do. And, sometimes I ask, does anybody want to hear anything? And they says, just keep doing what you're doing. It's like,
what was it? Wait a minute. I remember, what was the song? There was some song at Five Broke Girls that you tried to do, and you said, well, that's not going to go that way. I can't remember what it was now, but I remember they requested it, and you said, I'm going to try it. But I'll give you credit. He tries to do even when he hasn't done it for a while. So yeah, but you're a performer. You try to perform. I consider you more of a performer, even though you say I'm a singer, but you have that performer kind of attitude, like I'm going to try to perform for this crowd, period. I'm going to try to make them enjoy things. I see you more like that than you think you
Well,
are.
you want to entertain. You want to be entertaining, and
Yeah.
And because I posed that question on Facebook, and maybe I didn't pose it correctly, or people just didn't read into what I was trying to get out of them. But
Right.
There's some people that say interaction. I want you to have interaction with the crowd, and it's like, well, I mean, I've played some venues to where you're like, you feel like you're 100 yards from the first table, but you're not exactly that far, but you feel like it because, they're so far away. And it's hard for me if they're like, a good 30, 40 feet, to start,
Right.
are they really paying attention because they're so far away,
Yeah. But yeah. I mean, I've been with you a few times. I've seen some interesting stuff of late. Being with you, obviously when I was with you at Mammoth Jamboree, which we also used that in that movie, as you well know, we took parts of that and used it in the movie. But
I'm still waiting for my royalties on that too.
Oh God, I knew you were gonna bring that up. yeah, Magnum spliced that into one of his movies, and I still haven't seen any royalties from that one yet. Let's see how that goes. But shoot, I don't even know. I hear that movie has a really weird cult following, and I always laugh about it because you can only find it. The only people that ever have that thing is like that got the old DVD, because you can't even get that from Amazon or anything anymore. Thank God, it's an NC-17 movie. But anyway, it's so funny to me that someone says, "Hey man, that film has a cult following. That DVD still gets passed around to this day." I went, "Oh my God!" Yeah, but it's funny that you have a scene in there where we cut from Mammoth Jamboree when we did that video with the models and stuff, and it's so funny. I think I always go back and I laugh too about that too, because it's like you and I have such weird connections to different things and different people, and then we come back around the same way, and it's kind of like I always told them in the old days, like when we did things. I said, don't make people mad in this business. I said, even if you don't agree with them on certain things or certain things that they may post, try to just be diplomatic as possible. Well, why is that? I said, because unfortunately a lot of people are associated with a lot of other people, and you'll find it out really quick.
Oh yeah.
And I said, you kind of just have to take a step back and be very diplomatic about what you say and what you're doing on some things when it comes to the entertainment business. But yeah, I always get a kick out of that. But anyway,
like in this interview right now, I'm being way too honest about stuff.
Oh, you're okay.
Maybe I should have just shut my mouth and just said,
no,
that's just the way it goes.
No. I think when it comes to actually, I think that's good, because when it comes to podcast and interviews and things like that, I think it's good to be as honest as possible without being very offensive. I mean, some people run on the offensive, but then of course, then they, as one person says, then you lose a whole nother crowd. I think you've done it in a very diplomatic way. Most of our shows are very diplomatic, even our interview process. So, yeah, everything you said today. Okay, here's the thing. I look at this today. Everything you said here today, I know personally is the truth. You know it's the truth. We know. We've been in the business around this type of stuff long enough. We know. I don't think we've really officially, infuriated anyone with what we're saying, because we're being honest. I mean, some people don't like honesty, but I mean, if we weren't trying to be mean about it or anything. We're just trying to be.
Well, exactly, and I hope I didn't come across as being,
no.
Just got a negative attitude towards the business. I mean, it's just, I realize that is the business.
Yeah,
it's for some people, and some people just. It doesn't happen. I've heard a lot of great singers never make it.
Right.
There's plenty of them out there, and you just got to meet the right person at the right time, and you got to have the right amount of dollars.
And I'll go back to something that you said, and being around the modeling stuff. And if you put it in comparison with the music, 100% what you said about the cute. Sometimes will sell better than just the music alone, and that's something. And I'm not trying to be offensive to Nashville market. We well know this. I live near it. I've been around it most of my life, and 20 some years working with models. Sometimes we're used in music videos early on. I well know that is 100% true. That what you said is true, and Nashville knows it. I mean, come on, they're not.
Oh yeah,
they're not trying to hide. They're not hiding that.
I was friends with this very famous vocal coach. I won't mention his name.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my place, but he told me that long time ago when I first moved to town. I mean, I wasn't taking lessons from him. This is when I was working on Music Row, and he told me, he says all the labels are doing is signing models.
Oh yeah,
They I'm
well aware of it. Yeah, yeah.
He says, as long as they got a pretty face, and he goes, they'll sign them.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, and once in a while, they get a really good where they actually have the talent and the. But you're right, they do. They sign a lot of people that they know they're going to lose money as far as on the long term. But it's this initial just getting people out there and trying to just see something hit. And I mean, yeah, I think that you being right in the backyard and me being basically almost in the backyard and being around the entertainment business for so long, we know these things. I mean, some people know it too. They see it from the outside, but we're almost right on top of it every day. It's especially when I was like doing modeling stuff on a regular basis or film stuff out here. Yeah, I was associated with a lot of different people that in Nashville that I dealt with, and so yeah, I early on.
That's basically human nature too, James. I mean,
Oh yeah.
You got two cars sitting next to each other. You got one that's polished and shining real nice, and the other one isn't.
Right. Right.
Which one's going to attract?
Right.
People. The one that's clean and shiny and catches your attention.
Right. And it's kind.
It's just.
Yeah, and it's kind of like I know some things that I did early on that I wouldn't be able to do as easy now if I hadn't built some kind of name and rep over years and like, oh well, he was involved with this, he was involved with that, so yeah, we know who he is. But if I were, let's just put it in perspective. If I were to start. Let's go back to my stuff. If I started my stuff, what I did back in the day, now at almost 56 years old, they'd be like, whatever. I know this. I'm not that stupid. All right. Well, anyway, we're about ready to close the show out. Let me ask Danielle to make sure if she has anything else she wants to ask you before we get ready to close the show out. But it's been a great show, and it's been great having you here today, Rick. Danielle, would you have anything else you would like to ask Rick about before we get off today?
Anything.
No. Anything?
Anything. Just remember, it'll be an honest answer.
How old are you?
How old am I? As far as right now?
Yeah.
I'm 61.
There you go.
Okay. 61, and you're still having fun. That's great.
There you go.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for being on here. I really appreciate it.
No, no problem. I always enjoy being interviewed, and
I like your honesty.
I'm flattered that people are interested.
Yeah.
I think people would rather have honesty than not. Most people, I think. I don't know. You did good.
When I was a radio disc jockey, I used to have to play. There was like a syndicated show that we used to play on Sunday night, and I would listen to the interviews of these big stars, and you could tell every time that they were coached because of their answers.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of these performers, never heard or rarely heard of probably a Merle Haggard song or anything, you could tell that their background was rock. You could just tell that their background was rock, because they would always say, well, yeah, my influences was Haggard and Jones, Eric Clapton, the Beatles. Well, wait a minute. When you said Haggard and Jones, that just right there told me that you're being coached on what to say first. Right. Because generally people are going to say George Jones, Merle Haggard, if they truly enjoy their music. or if it was an influence.
Or a lot of times they just say Merle.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, that's you know, I don't know. It's something I caught a lot. But you could tell that when people were coached.
Oh yeah.
Especially when they start talking about all their you know, if the Haggard and Jones was their only country influence, then everybody else was in the rock genre. You know, there you go. You know what they actually really grew up on.
That's pretty good. And of course, out here, most people out here, you and I both know if they're going to refer to Merle Haggard, they use a lot of times they just say Merle, and we well know that when they're saying Merle, we know who they're talking about.
Well, yeah, there's a festival out in North Carolina, Merle Fest.
Yeah,
I think it's in North Carolina.
I believe you're right. Yeah.
You know, everybody thought it was a Merle Haggard festival. No, it's shoot. Now I forget who the Merle is.
Oh yeah. Oh.
It's not Merle Haggard.
No, you're right. I know what you're talking about, and I'm thinking, I can't think of it either. That's what. Welcome to the two Southerners, knowing that we know what we're talking about, and we totally cannot remember. Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah, I hate that when I can't.
That's all right,
remember
man.
Things. I start talking about something, and it's like, oh, well,
that's
I can't remember.
It's all right. It's all right. Well, hey, man, it's been great having you back here today, Rick. I really appreciate everything. Real, always appreciate everything you do. Appreciated you coming on the show today. It's been great to have you. We always love having a guest show, and it was nice to have you return. I look forward to being back out there with you again sometime soon, and I will check in with promotional stuff going on and see how things are going on, everything else. And but yeah, we'll keep going and see how things go, and you keep performing, and I know you're going to. And I'll tell Danielle here something before I hang up with you. One of the main things that he's always told me, he just mentioned that kinda, is, and it's one of the reasons that, which is on the original interview I did with you, one of the reasons that you took some time off there for a while when you had the band and then you came back solo, was if it's not fun, it's not worth doing anymore.
No, I mean, exactly. You know, and I mean, I was off for 10 years at one time because it just wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
And it was more harassing, you know, because I was, you know, trying to keep a band together. Mm-hmm. And even though you got amazing amount of talent down here, you know, you can always find a bass player to fill in.
Right.
But then you're still limited to what you can do as far as the songs you want to do that night. You got to keep it simple, you know, because now not everybody's worked together before, but they've worked, you know, they notice, you know, you're limited, in other words.
Yeah.
To where I do a single, I can do my originals, I can do stuff back in the 1950s, I can do something in 1990. You know, it's just a lot more. I got a lot more fluctuation, you know, and able to do, you know, the songs that I wrote, but with a band, you know, if they don't, you know, you bring somebody new in, they're not going to know it, even though they got charts.
Right.
So, you know, it's tough, but I you know, I enjoy both ways. I love being in the studio. I love listening to the ideas that people come up with, you know, as far as, you know, certain licks and stuff like that. And I just love listening to how, you know, a song that I wrote grows into a nice, pretty melody, or, you know, a nice, enjoyable song.
Yeah, a little help with some studio stuff down in Nashville. James Magnum Private Eye came out pretty daggone well, actually.
Do you ever write songs like a ghost, like kind of like ghost writing, where you'll write the song but nobody ever knows who wrote it?
All of them.
All of them.
Wow. So are you under contract? Oh no, I just got that, guys.
Rick Ryman is the entertainment name of somebody that I know personally. So that's all. And it's kind of like Magnum. It's kind of James Magnum Cook is the entertainment name of somebody we know. So yeah, we kind of both got that. Danielle caught it. I like it. I like it, brother. I like it, brother. It's so good. It's so good to hear you say that. I don't think I see Danielle get caught off guard like that. That was good. That was good because you caught me off guard a little bit at first, and then I realized where you were going with it. See, he's a lot of fun. And you are.
I enjoy writing songs, and I just gotta get off my lazy butt, and maybe today's the perfect day to do it since the weather is so lovely here in Tennessee.
Yeah, tell me about it over here in Kentucky too. Yeah, nasty.
Or maybe I can get on there. Yeah, I'm sure it is.
She does that to me all the time about how great the weather is.
All the time.
California does have great weather.
In San Diego.
Yeah, it's
Yes, there is, but it's beautiful now.
yeah.
Can you write a song about me?
Oh, wow.
Wow! Now you are asking for a challenge. I
love it.
The first time we talked.
I wrangle coyotes with my bare hand. Danielle, Private Eye. Right?
Oh my God. You know, if anybody comes across this interview that hasn't heard the other stuff or put the things together, there are gonna be so many searches going on. What the hell are they talking about?
Well, I thought it was funny, James, after you left.
Yeah.
When we was in the studio. And
yeah.
Jerry, he stops, and we're doing some things and stuff like that, and then he stops and he goes, "What's this about the coyotes?" And I just said, "I don't know."
Did you really tell him you didn't know? Oh, I did not know that till just now. Oh my God, you didn't. Oh my!
It's like I explained. I went through the song and I explained, the stuff to him. I said, this is about him and everything. And I said, he was a private eye, and he does his door dashing now, and he does this and does that.
And the car's named Athena.
There's coyotes on his property.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you
just have to keep them away.
Yeah, I just have to keep them away. Yeah. Well, okay, the interesting thing that happened a while ago when we were on the phone, and I said that's interesting, that's what you get when you're living out here in the middle of nowhere, or have the studio out here in the middle of nowhere, which, I mean, I have neighbors nearby, but I'm surrounded by lots of woods. And occasionally you will see a coyote in the daytime, but it's very unusual out here. So I got the door to the studio opening while we were doing the interview, and I was like, when I did that pause earlier, and I was like saying something about I saw something interesting, and I just went on. That's because a coyote had run by the door, and I was like, that's a little too close for comfort, guys. I just didn't want to mention it, but we'll mention it now that this came up. I was like, it's in the day. I think maybe because it's been raining here, maybe the only reason they're out. But I was like, what the heck? That's a little too.
Trying to keep their head above water.
Yeah, no kidding. With as much as we've had out here, between the tornadoes, the rain, the everything that we've had out here lately. Oh, nasty. Especially right here in my backyard, but yeah, that's what it was about. And so now that this came up, it was kind of funny because I had the door open. I've got the screen door, where I can see out, and I was like, "What the? Are you kidding me?" In the middle of the freaking day. But it was funny that you were on and you've done this song about the coyotes, and I was like, "This. I can't make it up." I said, "Oh my goodness!" I was cracking up. I'm going, "Okay, dude, you just keep on tracking because I really don't want to have to make this reality today." Oh my goodness.
Before we get off here, I just want to ask one thing.
Okay.
If anybody out there listening knows how to get a song to Gene Watson, I got the perfect song for him, so get in touch with me.
Oh, there we go. Perfect song for Gene.
There we go.
Wait a minute. Don't I know Joey? Doesn't Joey know? Wait a minute. I think I know somebody knows Gene Watson or knows that's what talk about that. Because I know someone. I won't tell you how I know her, how I first met her on the air, but she was involved with stuff down in Nashville singing. So I think she knows him personally. I'll have to check that out. I might actually.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll have to check it. I think she knows him. I won't give her last name right, or although I may have just probably told half the people in Nashville probably goes, oh, I know who the hell he's talking about. like how the hell does Magnum know her? Like, right? Yeah, why does he not want to talk about that on the air? Oh, it's nothing bad. It's and she's on my Facebook, so I mean, somebody can probably figure it out anyway. But it's a long story. We there's some, you know how things go in the business. We just don't talk about certain things on the air. Yeah. It's kind of like I know Deborah Allen too, you know, right? But I mean, whatever.
Well, Deborah, she sang on one of my albums.
Oh, really? Deborah did? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and we did a remix.
Okay.
And,
oh, cool.
And we lost her vocals.
Oh no.
Yeah, Randy Hebert, he was the one who lined her up to sing background on the CD, and
Right.
And he had it in. When I asked him for the files, he sent them to me,
Mm-hmm.
and then when we're playing them back to remix, it's like I go, well, what happened to Deborah?
Right.
So I contacted him and I said, hey, Deborah's voice is missing. He goes, I sent you everything we got.
Oh no!
Everything, and then he listened back to him. He goes, oh my gosh, they're gone.
Exactly. That's
So
horrible.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, and if I'm not sure, Deborah Allen is a well-known Grammy Award-winning singer back from the '70s and stuff. That I'm friends with her and her husband.
Yes, I know who she is.
Yeah.
I tell you, she when I listened back to the vocals that she did on the background vocals that she did on the song, and it's like, and he cut me out, and we were just listening. That's like I go, she needs to sing this whole damn song. I says,
yeah,
take me out.
Yeah, she is good.
She's just so good.
She is so good, and I know her and Ryman real well. Ryman's on my Facebook actually. I'll have to tell you a funny story about British Honduras. He told me sometime, but not on the air. when he was like working with Mel Tillis. See, I am way too connected to so many people, different things from Nashville and out. So yeah, but that's I didn't realize that you had worked with Deborah. Wow, that's interesting. But anyway, we've had a fun time here today. I'm gonna have to. We went over an hour and a half, and we were only gonna do an hour with you.
I know you're only going to do 10 minutes.
Shit, well, 10 minutes would have been like with a really short show. We usually try to do around an hour if possible, but I looked down at the time thing here, and it's closing in on 131.51 according to the count, and I was like, oh wow, I've been on here longer than I expected. But anyway, man, it's been great to have you here today. I'm going to let you go. I'll holler at you later, and you have a great day, and stay safe out there. Maybe write some song about Danielle today.
You never know. Might surprise you.
All right, man. Take care down there next. All right.
Take care.
Daniel, you take care too.
All right.
Nice talking with you.
You too.
All right. Bye, Rick.
You too.
We'll see y'all. Bye.
Bye.
All right, I still have Danielle on, and Danielle and I are fixing to close the show out. All right, with Rick Ryman. He is a traditional country singer from down in the Nashville, Tennessee area. And as we've talked about, he's done a couple of songs for about different things. One of them was about me. One was about Lawn Mower Racing. Check those out, Running All Out, and James Magnum Private Eye. You can check those out, as well as his other stuff. He is currently performing in the Tennessee and Kentucky area at various locations. You can go to Rick Ryman on his Facebook and check all those out, and you can also check out the stuff that I will link up with the show notes. And Danielle, I am going to let you close out here as well, and you have a great day out there in San Diego, and I'll talk to you later this evening. How you doing?
Okay.
All right.
Everybody, see
All right.
you next week.
That's right. All right. See you, Danielle. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
And of course, that was Danielle closing out from San Diego, California. Thank you for being on the show today, Danielle. Thank you, Rick Ryman. And thank you for everyone who's been listening to the show today. You've learned a little bit about Rick Ryman, some other things connected with me as well in the show. And have a great day. God bless all of you. And don't forget to like, subscribe, check out our Facebook, check out our connections. If you would like to donate, we have a Patreon coming up soon. But right now, if you'd like to donate anything from $1 on up, if you donate up to $20, you will be able to be an associate producer on the show, and we will say your name on the show. You can send that out to jmagnummodels@aol.com, and just let me know that you've done that. And like I said, if you do $20, you will be an official associate producer on an upcoming episode. I've had some people do that before, and the Patreon will be done soon. Danielle is trying to work on that, trying to get it going. We're trying to figure out some things to do for that. But anyway, again, like, subscribe, and enjoy the show. Have a great day. And again, God bless all of you, as I said. And this is James Magnum Cook closing out on the 13th Destiny with Magnum.